The James Webb Space Telescope has captured something that defies every assumption scientists once held about interstellar objects. Roughly 10 light-years away, an enormous, dark fragment began drifting toward our region of space, and its unusual motion quickly caught the attention of astronomers. But what made the scientific community sit up in alarm was something far more unsettling. A Harvard astrophysicist suggested that this object might not be natural at all. He proposed that its structure, erosion patterns, and highly organized features might indicate a form of advanced alien technology, or at the very least, a type of interstellar engineering no one could explain. As the object, nicknamed 3I Atlas, entered the range of Webb's infrared instruments, the telescope delivered the clearest image humanity had ever seen of such a visitor. The resolution was so sharp that scientists could study the erosion lines carved across its surface, each acting like geological fingerprints. These patterns revealed how the object had scraped through dense pockets of interstellar dust, giving astronomers a way to map parts of the galaxy that spacecraft cannot reach. What fascinated researchers even more was the presence of a crust, one that seemed to form through countless cycles of heating and freezing. This crust acted like armor, protecting fragile, frozen materials inside the object, materials that would have vaporized long ago had they been exposed to space. Webb's infrared sensitivity revealed contrasts between the hard outer shell and patches of softer interior material peeking out through microfractures. These fractures held clues about how the object survived unimaginable distances without disintegrating. With every new detail, scientists upgraded their models. Now they could simulate 3I Atlas's density, chemical makeup, and behavior. Earlier theories suggested that interstellar objects were rare and nearly impossible to study. But the clarity of Webb's imagery proved that with the right tools, even fast-moving cosmic visitors can be observed in extraordinary detail. This inspired astronomers to expand sky survey programs dedicated to tracking unusual trajectories. But then the image grew stranger. Webb detected microscopic crystalline structures across the surface, formations that only grow in microgravity over immense spans of time. These grains aligned in subtle patterns, forming a shimmering texture when viewed in infrared wavelengths. Scientists realized they were looking at something like a fossil record of cosmic radiation, encoded in the crystal orientations themselves. Another discovery raised even more questions: the object's albedo bands, lines of reflectivity that wrapped around its surface. Strangely, they were misaligned with its current rotation axis, suggesting that 3I Atlas had once spun differently. Something, perhaps a collision or gravitational encounter, must have knocked it into a new orientation millions of years ago. Thermal imaging painted an even richer picture. Some regions absorbed heat deeply, others reflected it instantly, hinting at a complex internal structure. This object wasn't a uniform rock. It was a hybrid, part solid, part loosely packed dust, and possibly the fragment of a larger body that shattered long ago. Infrared color gradients revealed asymmetry in radiation exposure. One hemisphere had been bombarded more intensely than the other, suggesting the object once drifted through space with one side always facing the direction of its motion, a slow, measured tumble over eons. Erosion trails etched faint scratch-like patterns along its body. These weren't random. Some aligned perfectly with its motion. Others cut across at angles, telling a story of stability interrupted by chaotic periods in dense regions of interstellar dust. Inside the object, Webb detected layered heat signatures like geologic strata. Each layer represented a different era of the object's life, from the silicates formed in its birthplace to the organic-rich dust collected during its travels through the deep void. But then came the discovery that changed everything. A faint halo surrounded the object, an ultra-thin cloud of dust lifting gently off the surface. Webb's sensitivity revealed micron-sized grains containing exotic carbon species not found in typical comets. The halo was so subtle it would have been invisible to any other telescope. Polarization mapping showed grain alignments so complex that some areas resembled shock-compressed regions, while others looked like places where microscopic dust had settled quietly for ages. As scientists analyzed the data, a new theory emerged. 3i Atlas wasn't just drifting. It was changing. Something inside it was waking up. The deeper Webb looked, the more the object broke every rule of natural behavior. Subsurface cavities appeared to be rearranging. Thermal lag patterns shifted. Magnetic interactions fluctuated. Radiation scars revealed an almost impossibly long journey, through star-forming regions, dense dust clouds, and quiet cosmic plains. And yet, the closer it came to the Sun, the more active it became. Scientists around the world wondered, was this simply an ancient interstellar relic warming up? Or was it something designed to respond to starlight? As 3i Atlas entered the inner solar system, its glow intensified. JUIC's instruments recorded pulses rippling across its fissures, each more structured than the last. What began as sporadic flickers evolved into organized, rhythmic emissions, behaving with a precision that no comet or asteroid had ever displayed. Then, something extraordinary happened. The halo surrounding the object thickened, not randomly, but in perfectly spaced concentric layers. Dust ejected from fissures didn't disperse. It arranged itself into synchronized shells, expanding like ripples on the surface of water. Each shell pulsed outward in harmony with the object's internal vibrations. The halo was behaving like a system under deliberate control. At the same time, the crystalline structures on the object's surface began to reorganize. Instead of spreading outward, the crystals grew inward, forming protective ribs that locked together like engineered armor. These ribs shielded the glowing fissures beneath, creating a surface that looked manufactured, a lattice optimized to channel energy. Webb then detected something unprecedented. 3i Atlas was adjusting its orientation. Tiny thrusts from its jet-like emissions subtly altered its path, keeping its cavity aligned with both the Sun and the expanding halo. This level of precision was impossible for a natural object. The alignment suggested intention, or at least some kind of unknown self-stabilizing mechanism. Inside the cavity, vapor condensed into luminous strands that wove themselves across the interior like the wiring of a neural system. These strands vibrated with escalating harmonics, resonating through the entire structure, the surface, the halo, and something else. A filament. A long, spiraling filament of dust and energized particles extended outward from the object. Instead of dispersing, it coiled into a stable helix, maintaining its form as though held together by an invisible framework. It grew longer with each pulse, stretching along the object's trajectory as if mapping the space ahead. Scientists were stunned. Nothing in nature builds structures like this. As the sun's radiation intensified, the halo interacted with the solar wind in astonishing ways. The concentric shells rippled, absorbed solar particles, and produced faint magnetic fields, forming a self-sustaining magnetic envelope around the object. Inside this envelope, the luminous fissures on the surface began to glow brighter, their light escaping through narrow slits deliberately left between the armored crystal segments. The patterns traced complex geometries that mirrored the magnetic waves rippling through the halo. Everything, the armored shell, the halo, the filament, the cavity, was synchronized. The object was approaching perihelion. And it was preparing for something. Moments before its closest pass to the Sun, the cavity erupted. A continuous, coherent beam of structured infrared radiation shot outward, stabilizing into a perfectly aligned spear of light that activated the entire filament. The helix tightened, particles aligned, and the beam encoded harmonics layered in sequences more complex than any natural phenomenon ever recorded. The final seconds were breathtaking. The halo brightened into a blazing sphere. The filament vibrated with purpose. The crystalline armor glowed like embers. The beam sharpened, aligning with the sun. And then, 3I Atlas reached perihelion. What happened next remains the greatest cosmic mystery of our time. Some believe the object transformed, completing a process triggered by solar energy. Others believe it activated, awakening a mechanism older than our solar system itself. And a few dare to whisper the most unsettling theory of all, that 3I Atlas was never just a rock. It was built, sent, or programmed to awaken in the light of a new star. Whatever the truth, one thing is certain. This interstellar visitor proved that the universe holds secrets far beyond our imagination.